Alright, so let's talk about NFTs and how we can work together to bring on new artists and to facilitate drops using the tools that we already have set up for the benefit of artists and for growing the CXC project. So, in this document, we'll find all the relevant links, so keep this handy whenever you are going through. As well as you'll find information about the rarity levels, information about pricing, and pretty much everything you need to know. In this video, we're going to go over the metadata in the standard and like how to get that and make sure it's formatted correctly. And we'll also talk about what to do after that as far as posting it on Nefty and using the drops.cXc.world Elementor builder to add it to the homepage of drops.cXc. So let's get started by pulling up the Google form. So head to the individual response and you can select the email and you'll see just that response, and you should find all the information there. If some things are missing, you can either, number one, contact the artist and say, hey, you gave us the Ether address, not a Wax address, or I need a better story, because we are focused on selling with that story. Do check and make sure that all these things are filled out before proceeding forward. And if you do need to contact that artist and let them know, hey, we need more, please do that, because it's the best, easiest to get this done right now when we can still edit all this content. So we're going to do that over here in our template file, which has all the information of an NFT following our standard on GitHub. So what we're going to do with that information once we have it is we're going to put it into the contract Atomic assets to create a template, which I usually just do through blocks. And this is the create temple option, and we're gonna copy and paste all of this into the attribute map. So if you don't want to use code, you can also use our other collection, Music NFTs 1.3, as opposed to Music NFT.13, meaning version 0.1.3. You can use that schema and then do everything through the UI. The difference between making a template through the UI and doing it through code is mainly the array objects. So that is the platforms as well as the credits. So if you do want to do it through the UI, that is fine. Just make sure you have your data organized and refer back to this document with the code so you can get a little bit of the format. And for something like the credits right there, you would just bring all the different things together. So you would have beatmaker, colon, and then the name, and then a comma, and then immediately you'd write the next title, like written by. For the name, we do the name of the song and then the name of the artist. We used to just use a hyphen, but we've started to use our emoji to separate those. You can add an emoji at the end or in between the name and the artist, if that makes sense, the title and the artist. Or you don't need to. But we usually do use like one emoji per title. All of the things like image, back image are all IFPFS, just hashes. So it defaults to show the image, and if not, it'll show the video. So keep in mind, if you do want to have a video as the main visual, go ahead and completely delete the image from this file. You can't just leave it blank, because sometimes it'll read just a blank string and try to display that, but delete all of that and then just leave the video. The back image can be used for the artist to provide more information about the song. You can also create a custom image if you want to step up and do that, but it's not required as long as we have a video or an image. The promo can also be used for any promotional purpose. The collection image should be just that floating coin all the time. And audio is the IPFS hash of an MP3 file. And we recommend Pinata to get that IPFS hash because it's free and it works. Just make sure that you keep this pin forever. Moving on to video, I heavily suggest that we use the WebM format. This is giving us great file size and performance, and means that we can usually make a music video as a thumbnail if we need to do that. So like we did on Hop Out, it'll just play the whole video on that thumbnail. But we can also use WebM as a substitute for GIF with a better quality and file size. So for the title, you could choose to set it if you think it's different than the title of the NFT, the name of the NFT, and you want to keep the actual title of the song intact, add it there. Same with album, add the album it belongs to. The about, now this is the story, this is a big part of what we're selling, right? So it's super important whenever you're receiving artists as well as whenever you're coaching artists or onboarding artists to let them know like, hey, we want you to share your story behind this song, something that people aren't going to get somewhere else, right? So a new way to see it, a new way to express it, a new take on how the music was made. Year is the year of recording. For the credits, we have, these are 3 suggested ones, but you can use anything that the artist throws your way. Please honor their requests. There's space for that in the form. If you're using the S.13 as opposed to the .13, you're not going to have this array object. So in that case, if you're using the UI, just type in the name, like you'll see performed by : and then whoever it is followed by a comma, and then you have the next thing like beat maker and then the next name. So up next we have the players: YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud. If you've got them, add them. This is great. As well as we have platforms. It's also an array object. So it's just a bunch of strings with commas after them. Or if you're doing it through the UI, you can just put the links. They can be labeled or not. If you do choose to label them, please do the name and then a colon followed by the URL, just like we did before. Next we have the nation, and that's in ISO 3. So if you're wondering like, oh, is Ireland like IRE, or what is it? You can just Google ISO nation Ireland, or probably just like ISO 3 Ireland, and it's IRL in real life. So for locale, yeah, please do the city and state or the equivalent in the local tongue. And up next we have the geotag. So if you're doing this through the UI, please note the format. This is just a positive or negative number, and then another positive or negative number, and make it either 3 or 4 decimals of precision, just to make it look nice. So yeah, and if you want to find out this information, it's super easy. You just Google the location and then lat long, or latitude, longitude, and you can find out exactly where it is. And yeah, just copy paste that, remove this degree symbols, and you're good to go. And finally, we have our rarity list. And remember, on the plan of action, I wrote down the rarity levels, but also keep in mind that when we're doing the packs on Nefty, they actually require you to have a unlimited supply. So don't worry about if you have to set an unlimited supply and then still have it as a mythic. It should be just represented. If you're going to use the mythic rarity, make sure that it's the hardest one to get to in the pack, or something you have to blend to. Please don't overuse the mythic and epic. I don't mind so much rares. You can make whatever rares you want, but those could have possible rewards in the future for those 2 levels of rarity. So we want to sort of keep those pristine. As well as with the pricing, we did talk about, if you read at the bottom paragraph, we're going to charge more for the mythics and the epics. So once you have all of the data, go to the link in there, which is the testnet of the Atomic assets, making a template. So we're creating a template, put in the authorized creator, And I'll make a mirrored permission so that you can use the public key that you gave me, the private key for that, to sign these transactions. Or you can literally do it on any other test collection and send me that too. It'll work the same for our purposes. Just put in the data and then set the max supply to either 0 if you need it to be unlimited, or whatever the max supply could be. And of course you're going to make a copy of this, don't edit the actual template. Oh, and super key point, if you have attributes that you're not using, like image there and things like that, do delete it. So yeah, to do this right, we go back and delete it. Do not just leave empty attributes. It's going to consume RAM and cause problems. So yeah, especially the image, like if you leave the image in there with the image blank, it could cause some displays not to work, right? So that's something that we'd like to avoid. And then just send me the transaction and I'll check it out. Or you could even send me the template ID and I'll look at the template ID on the testnet of Atomic Hub, which if you don't know how to get there, it's just like, instead of wax.atomichub, it's wax-test.atomichub, the same as the prefix to the subdomain of blocks.io right now. Okay, so once we are done posting our NFT, which I will do, once I have everything, we are ready to go to make our drop on Nefty. To do that, I would just go and find our latest drop or one of our latest drops and edit it, and then copy and paste all of this markdown, which then you can edit for the next time around. So add the genre, the behind the music is the about, as well as the links and the pricing, which should be relative to the rarity, with the $2 first drop, and that's also explained in the paper. And we can talk about it if we want to make it better and you have ideas, let me know. So once we have the Nefty ID, then we can post it on drops.cXc.world. You're gonna have to log in with this login URL, drops.cXc.world/WP-admin. That's because we don't have an actual login link on the site. And you'll log in with the login that I will give you, and make sure that you change the password once I give you the login. And once we're logged in, you go to the main page of the site and then you'll see edit with Elementor. And if you've never used Elementor before, there's all kinds of tutorials out there about it. It's one of the best page building plugins in WordPress. All we're gonna have to do once we're here is we're going to duplicate an element and make sure that we have the one side with the picture that is opposite to the one below it. So we switch that up every drop. Then we'll just edit the behind the music to have the story, as well as we're going to have to put the link. You'll notice that the name is a link and that goes to Spotify, so edit that, add this information below, and yeah, that's about it. We'll edit the picture as well, and that's how you can switch it if you need to. And then we'll also edit the link to our Nefty sale. So just click up there to duplicate, and then click again to drag it up. And then you just go ahead and edit everything. And I find it's best when you're editing in Elementor to highlight the paragraph and then edit it to the left side, and over there you can add links and anything like that you need. Try to use the general colors that you'll find throughout the document. And it's fine to just add the behind the music as the about, but if you want to add more, you can do that too. And all that's left to do now is to edit the actual song and make sure that we're linking to the NFT page. So if we click over here, we'll see that the link is to a YouTube. We use YouTube, which we get there by uploading a video of the song to YouTube that is square, and that helps a lot under ideal conditions. But if we have somebody else's video, a YouTube link is just fine. And then we change this image overlay under the other tab. You can click choose image and then use the regular WordPress uploader. which hopefully you're familiar with. I hope you guys know a little bit about WordPress. If not, it's super easy, as well as a great skill to dive into. So yeah, we usually use the GIF for that image, and that's about it. And then we have the button. So that's a separate element. Edit, and then go to content, and we have the title there, as well as the link, which will go to the sales page on Nefty. Key. And then we apply the link on the whole box, and you also see this button text. So that's what the button actually says, and feel free to make it say something cool. I'm trying not to get too repetitive, so whatever inspires you to write there, feel free to change that sort of call to action. And finally, if you feel good about it, go ahead and update it. If you aren't sure, save it as a draft and let me know, and I'll take a look at the draft, and then either I'll post it or tell you to post it. And if you mess up, here's the history tab, so you can go back to the beginning where it says editing started and get rid of all your changes, as well as do sort of version control from there. And finally, we have to tell this dude on Telegram that we're going to have the drop a week before. And I wrote this down here, but I might be the one that has to do that. I don't know if he can deal with multiple contact points. And all that's left, guys, is to reach out and recruit new artists, and to make this process better as well. So when it comes to recruiting artists, do go ahead and reach out to your friends, reach out to anyone you're close to, anyone you want to involve first. Reach out to people in Wax that we haven't worked with. There's a few people that have said they'd love to do a drop, like JRG, that we haven't move through with that. Then move out to other chains, invite people. And again, if they're skeptical, move on. And look for people who are really hyped and excited to be on an NFT and be a part of this new wave. Any size artist, if they're big artists, that's great, that's amazing, and we will compensate you better in Purple for that. And it's just a big opportunity for us to organically grow, as well as doing what you want to do with the drops. We've done these sort of pack drops before where it's like an album, but instead of getting 12 tracks, you get 12 NFTs, which represent 5 tracks randomly, and then you can blend with those. So there's all kinds of fun things that we can do if you're willing to put in the effort to plan it, to organize it, and make it happen. And I will do my best to fairly reward everybody in Purple for their contributions, and reach my hand in anytime I can help guide this through, especially in the beginning. Everything's probably going to be approved because you're sending the NFT metadata to me first. But moving forward, this is something that we're growing together, we're learning together, and bringing people in. Just let the artists know, like, this is a new thing, and we can set it up so that they'll continually get this wax into their account for their sales. We do a lot of unlimited linked sales. Even if we have like a certain amount that are cheaper, we can, we usually raise the price up to full price, and then we can have unlimited drops or until the rarity runs out. So guys, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for all that you will do. And thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer and Sherpa along the way as we bring people together around music NFTs, and let's continue to grow this collection and test the boundaries and do cool stuff. Peace.